Hello students, welcome to online classes of Maharaja Public School. I'm Sanjay and I normally take my students on the highways of history. Today I'm going to take you to the lanes and bylanes of our very own civilization, Indus Valley. Indus Valley civilization, named after River Indus, was dotted with so many cities existing on the either banks of the River Indus. The Indus Valley civilization was happening in the Bronze Age, when the bronze artifacts were in predominance. And it is also called a proto-historic civilization. What does this term proto-historic mean? And what other terms like prehistoric and historic times? What these three terms denote, let us discuss them. When we talk about prehistoric times, we are referring to a time frame, a time bracket, which has yielded no evidences of any kind of writing. While on the other hand, when we talk about proto-historic times, we have found evidences of writing, but the archaeologists or the linguists have not been able to decipher what is written. Indus Valley civilization falls in this category of proto-historic times. And historic times are the ones which has yielded the evidences of writing, and those writings have been successfully understood, read. Indus Valley civilization, like any other major civilization of the ancient world, grew from different small settlements. We know that the Paleolithic and Mesolithic man was not at all leading a sedentary life, settled down at a place, particular place, but was a nomadic, a hunter-gatherer, living in bands, moving from one place to another, searching for food. There wasn't any proper settlement where he settled down for years and years to come. But during Neolithic Revolution, around 10,000, 12,000 to 10,000 BC, we begin to find certain settlements, small villages, growing into eventually big cities. All the civilizations like Mesopotamian civilization, for example, also grew out of these small settlements and eventually gave rise to the mega cities, and thus these cities eventually forming a civilization. The same was the case with Indus Valley civilization. Examples like Mehergarh, now in Pakistan, is a prime aspect of Indus Valley civilization, that it also grew out of small settlements, villages. Mehergarh testifies, and several other centers also make us understand that the small settlements, when came under domestication of some sorts, the domestication of agriculture, the domestication of animals, made them settle in certain places, the places which were conducive for those domestications of certain cereals, food grains, and animals also. So these settlements, apart from so many things, gave comfort of surplus, the surplus of food grain, surplus of meat, and milk also perhaps. So this surplus gave the human beings a comfort which eventually resulted in the growth of population, and these small settlements began to grow in towns, and towns in their turn began to grow into big cities and mega cities and metropolitans. So Indus Valley civilization, which is also called Harappa civilization, because the first place to be excavated by archaeological survey of India was Harappa. named after a city, a metropolitan city of the times of yore. These metropolitans gave rise to this very planned and perhaps the most articulate civilizations of the past. Articulate, why I'm saying this? Because they were not only having well-planned cities where the civic sense was absolutely remarkable, because they had absolutely brilliant drainage system. In fact, Indus Valley civilization is known for its civic life. The public bath, drainage system, well-formulated cross-secting roads, a very well-planned two stratas of cities, the upper strata called citadel area and the lower strata for the masses to live. All this indicate that there was a certain element of urban planning which was being put into place to let that civilization happen and speak about itself. So growing from those small villages into towns and eventually into metropolitan cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, Dholavira, and so on and so forth. There are so many cities. And Indus Valley civilization was perhaps the most widespread so far as its geographical spread is concerned. Perhaps it was the most extensive civilizations ever existed. So this civilization made us realize that the sophistication of metallurgy, standardization of weights and measures, town planning, the very evidence of writing, and a proper civic life and trade relations, commercial relations with foreign countries, foreign civilizations, because we have also known that Dilkush, Dilmun, Magan, Meluha are certain terms which indicate the trading relations of Indus Valley civilization with Mesopotamian civilization. So this was a kind of flourishing civilization which was our very own. Today there are certain, or rather majority of these portions are in Pakistan, and a lot of Indus Valley civilization sites are also in India, almost covering the entire subcontinent, made it one of the most wonderful happenings of the past. Today, because of the limitations of the time, I am stopping this video. We will continue on Indus Valley civilization in next lectures. But I request all my students to read their NCERT books to gain an understanding of the Indus Valley civilization, so that the lectures are even more impactful. Thank you very much for today's attention, and let us catch up very soon. Thank you very much.